Welcome to China Truths. In this episode, we will bring you the following stories. CCP enforces mandatory military registration amid fears of major upheaval. Ka-shing sells 20.82 million H shares of Postal Savings Bank of China. Now, let's dive into the details. It's all covered in today's China Truths. CCP enforces mandatory military registration amid fears of major upheaval. As the military registration season approaches, the Chinese government has been heavily promoting mandatory registration, stating that all 18-year-olds must complete the process, with warnings of severe consequences for non-compliance. This has sparked widespread speculation. Experts suggest that this push may not necessarily indicate preparation for war but rather stems from fears of potential large-scale social unrest, prompting the CCP to strengthen its control measures. The 2025 military registration will begin on January 1, 2025. According to China's military service law, male citizens who turn 18 by December 31st of that year are required to fulfill their military registration obligations as stipulated by law. Notably, what was previously a recommendation, should register, has now become mandatory, must register for military service upon turning 18. Propaganda videos titled "The Nation Calls You to Register at 18" have been widely shared, while official platforms such as the Veterans Affairs Office's Weibo account have warned that failing to register could have serious repercussions, such as being barred from attending university or finding employment. Local governments have issued announcements emphasizing severe penalties for refusing to fulfill national defense obligations or evading military service. Non-compliance may result in disqualification from public service and state-owned enterprise recruitment, ineligibility to travel abroad, graduate, or enroll in higher education institutions, denial of essential services such as identity cards, household registration, driver's licenses, and bank loans, restrictions on purchasing flight or high-speed rail tickets, loss of access to social welfare benefits. Moreover, personal records will note the refusal to register, and this will be flagged in one's household registration information. Online comments reflect widespread skepticism. If it's such an honorable thing, why attach so many conditions? With the birth rate so low, will compulsory military service become inevitable in the future? This reveals something. Guess why they're doing this? Some netizens recalled the past when enlisting required connections and money. Back in college, I handled class registrations for military service. After registering, nothing happened. You wanted to join, but they didn't necessarily want you. It used to be voluntary, now it's mandatory. The population decline is severe. Zhang Healy, a retired Air Force veteran, said that the government's actions may be an attempt to create tension and justify stricter control over the public. If war were to break out, China's outdated equipment and human wave tactics would lead to devastating losses, Zhang said. He noted growing discontent within the military and broader society. Young people today are unwilling to endure hardship. Soldiers and officers alike are dissatisfied. They dream of a better life, but times are worsening. Zhang also criticized the government's focus on young men for military service while female soldiers largely serve privileged interests. In poor northern regions, joining the military is often seen as a way out. Wealthier areas in southern China are less inclined to enlist. Zhang referenced past tragedies, like the 2019 Sichuan wildfires where over 30 firefighters died. Quoting Nobel laureate Mo Yan, he said, "The fields are strewn with corpses, all sons of farmers." He warned young people against becoming pawns of the regime. Some sacrifices are meaningful, others are not. If you're invading others, you're just cannon fodder for a dictatorship. If the CCP attacks Taiwan, many of my friends will support Taiwan. Political commentator Lan Shu said that the increasingly strict military registration requirements indicate the government's growing reliance on its military to maintain control amid mounting societal and internal pressures. If Xi Jinping continues his leftward ideological shift, military control could become the CCP's final option, Lan said. This might involve declaring a state of emergency, justifying military governance with external conflicts, such as provocations in the Taiwan Strait or assaults on offshore islands like Kinmen or Matsu. Lan predicted that such moves would require rapid military expansion and mobilization. Measures like reinstating collective supply systems and arming grassroots militia units are precursors to such preparations. Political analyst Tang Jingyuan echoed these sentiments, suggesting the registration drive may be a contingency for internal unrest rather than outright war. It's akin to a census, identifying individuals eligible for military service to prepare for potential emergencies, whether external conflicts or internal upheavals requiring large-scale stabilization forces, Tang explained. Tang highlighted the government's rhetoric about a once-in-a-century transformation, hinting at its anticipation of dramatic and possibly destabilizing events. Ka-shing sells 20.82 million H shares of Postal Savings Bank of China. On December 12, Hong Kong billionaire Ka-shing reduced his stake in the Postal Savings Bank of China, PSBC, H shares, decreasing his ownership from 5.07% to 4.96%. This marks his first sale of the state-owned bank's shares this month, following 4 reductions in October, sparking discussions across mainland China. According to the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, HKEX, website, Ka-shing, his son Victor Li Zarkoi, and the Ka-shing, Canada, Foundation sold 20.82 million PSBC H shares on December 12 at an average price of 4.5408 Hong Kong dollars per share. Their stake dropped from 5.07% to 4.96%, generating approximately 94.54 million Hong Kong dollars in cash. This is not the first time recently that Li and his son have reduced their holdings in PSBC H shares. Between October 14 and 30, the two sold PSBC H shares 4 times, lowering their stake from 9.03% to 5.97%. Based on the average sale price of those transactions, they realized about 733 million Hong Kong dollars in cash. On October 30, CK Asset Holdings responded to the paper, stating that the recent reductions in PSBC shares were part of routine financial operations by the Ka-shing Foundation and were unrelated to the operational development of PSBC. Established in 1980, the Ka-shing Foundation primarily supports education and medical projects. Over the years, the foundation has invested over 30 billion Hong Kong dollars in initiatives for education, healthcare, and poverty alleviation, with 80% of the projects based in mainland China and Hong Kong. On September 28, 2016, PSBC was officially listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. At the time, a spokesperson for the Chung Kong Group revealed that Ka-shing, through his foundation and his eldest son Victor Li, held performance-linked notes equivalent to an 11.62% stake in PSBC's H shares. Based on the market value at the time, this stake was worth over 10 billion Hong Kong dollars. The spokesperson emphasized that Li viewed the investment as a long-term one. Since PSBC H shares were listed, Li and Victor disclosed their first sale on September 29, 2022, when they sold 50,000 shares. They sold an additional 22.49 million shares on May 11, 2023. Notably, Ka-shing's real estate companies have drawn attention this year by offering significant discounts on properties. According to China Fund News, Li's last real estate project in Beijing, Imperial Jade Garden, opened for sale more than a year after obtaining its pre-sale permit. On October 26, the project offered 50 units at a discounted price of $10,442 per square meter, down from the original listed price of nearly $13,740 per square meter, resulting in a buying frenzy. Information from the Beak platform shows that the new development's price is even lower than that of similar second-hand properties in the surrounding area.